How's it going, troops? Jordan here, back again with another Black Ops Cold War loadout video. Today's loadout is a fun military setup based on Britain's Boys in Black, so today's loadout is titled 80s SAS. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and let's jump right in. With this 80s SAS loadout, we're going to be creating a class setup based on the SAS from the 1980s and role-playing their most famous operation, Operation Nimrod, also known as the Iranian embassy siege that took place in London back in May 1980. As mentioned, this loadout's playstyle is focused on roleplay, and since we're basing this class setup from the early 1980s and not putting an emphasis on in-game performance, I've labelled today's loadout difficulty as hard. Starting off with this 80s SAS setup, we're going to equip ourselves with the Special Air Service's main go-to weapon, that being the Heckler & Koch MP5. During the Iranian embassy siege, the UK government called in the SAS as their final option, when 6 Iranian terrorists didn't get their way with their demands, resulting in the death of a hostage. Plastered all over newspapers and in the media at the time, we saw the Boys in Black carrying the Heckler & Koch MP5 as their primary weapon, so we'll base our MP5 configuration off this. But of course we can't go in bare bones, so let's talk attachments. Our first attachment is going to be the SOCOM Eliminator. The SOCOM Eliminator conceals our muzzle flash for the most part and helps to reduce our vertical recoil by 17%. Our second attachment is the 9.5-inch Ranger. This barrel increases our bullet velocity by 100%, but the main reason we're choosing this attachment is to replicate how the barrel on the MP5 looked during the siege. Next attachment is the Tiger Team Spotlight. This elite specialised flashlight was seen attached onto the MP5 by the SAS, and in-game increases enemy reveal distance by 40%, so we can spot the terrorists in a quick glance and eliminate them. And lastly, our fourth attachment is going to be the collapsed stock. From photographs and news footage of the embassy siege, we can clearly see members of the SAS grip the MP5 with the stock collapsed in, so we'll choose this attachment for authenticity. So now that we've discussed our primary weapon configuration, it's time to move on to our secondary weapon of choice for this loadout. For our secondary weapon, we're going to choose a 1911 pistol. MP5s weren't the only firearms the SAS brought with them for their mission, they also carried with them Browning high-power pistols as backup. Sadly, we don't have the Browning pistol in Black Ops Cold War, but a close-looking alternative is the 1911 pistol, and so we'll choose this as our secondary sidearm. Usually I would now talk about the attachments we'll equip onto the 1911, but after watching through archive footage and documentaries on the embassy siege, no real attachments were used on the Browning. Because of this, we're going to select no attachments for the 1911 and instead go in bare bones. So now that we've discussed our primary and secondary weapon configurations, it's time to talk Wildcard and Perks. For our Wildcard selection, we're going to choose Lawbreaker. Lawbreaker not only has an ironic ring to it, since the SAS go beyond the law, but allows us to mix and match our perk choices for this setup, which we're going to talk about now. Our first tier perk is going to be Tactical Mask. The Special Air Service are known for wearing black gas masks during operations to not only obscure their identities, but to also keep out any debris and toxic gases from entering their lungs. Tactical Mask features a black gas mask, so we'll choose this for our tier 1 perk. And for our second and third perks, we're going to choose Gung Ho and Ninja from tier 3. During Operation Nimrod, the SAS had to be sharp and take their movement step by step, because this was a hostage situation and they were aware of at least 6 terrorists who were armed with automatic weapons and grenades. John McAleese and the boys kept their guns up at all times as they quietly moved through each room until all 6 terrorists were disarmed or dead. To mimic this with our 80s SAS loadout, we're going to select both Gung Ho to keep our guns up and our speed agile, and Ninja to keep our footsteps quiet so we don't alarm the enemy of our nearby presence. Moving on now to our equipment and field upgrade. For our lethal equipment, we're going to choose C4. Explosive charges were used by the SAS to blow their way into the embassy and clear the building room by room, so to replicate this in game, we'll choose the C4 explosive as our lethal equipment. For our tactical equipment, we're going to go with the stun grenade. Stun grenades were also equipped and used by the SAS to blind and disorientate the armed terrorists and give the lads a brief few seconds to move in and clear house. And lastly, for our field upgrade, we're choosing the field mic. In the days leading up to the mission, technicians drilled holes and planted special listening devices in the walls between the Iranian embassy and the Ethiopian embassy, so the Met Police could listen in for new intel from the conversations the terrorists had. This information would then be relayed to the SAS group. While the field mic in Cold War isn't as unique as COD 4's eavesdrop, this parabolic microphone displays enemy sound waves as red dots on our minimap, letting us know enemy intel that way, so that's why the field mic will be our field upgrade. So now we've talked about our equipment and field upgrade, it's time to finish off this loadout with our Scorestreak selection. For this loadout, we're not going to select any score streaks for this setup. To be as authentic as possible, we'll get our hands dirty, walk into uncertain territory and secure them kills ourselves. So troops, that wraps up my 80s SAS loadout video for Black Ops Cold War. Next time you boot up Black Ops Cold War multiplayer, definitely give this class setup a try in game and get that win for those who dare. If you did enjoy this loadout video, then give the video a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it a lot. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, then why haven't you? Hit subscribe right now and also click the bell notification icon next to it, so that way you're always notified as to when I make an upload. If you have any friends who might be interested in this sort of content, then share the video around with them to help give my loadout videos and my channel more widespread exposure. And if you want to see behind the scenes previews of my loadout videos, you can follow me on Twitter at jordanxbrookes for all the latest on there. So until the next video, I thank you all for watching, stay true to me troops, and I'll see you in game.